let's see here.
One of you.
A lot of people, and I'm like.
Okay.
I know D-Designs.
We're live. Yay!
Yay!
Welcome to
Hi.
the planning meeting for next year. Angela, where would you like people who are not where would you like people to post their comments?
On the forums at B2BCyCon.com. And
okay.
I am currently posting the link now. So if they want to join, we have a limit of 8, and I know there's a couple people who are definitely coming in. I think Joe Compton couldn't make it.
Yeah, I think Joe and Corey could not make it.
Okay. And I do have some people here. I'm emailing them now. I believe D-Designs wanted to jump in. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly send them an email. Yep, here it is. Is there a link to join the discussion? Okay, so Anita Stewart is going to be joining us, so we're going to give her a moment here. And there's no limit.
To how many people can watch?
Yes.
There's no limit to how many people can be live in it.
Right. Ooh, and here's Ed. I'm going to send it to Ed Ireland. Okay.
I haven't met him yet.
Oh, I haven't either.
I've known him since the first convention, and I haven't met him yet.
Yeah. I was really looking forward to him, and then he's like, "You are not going to believe this, but my cats are having kittens." and it was wonderful. Let me see here. I was already on the phone this morning with Kate. That's the Israeli sisters.
Yeah, Kate and Claire.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, are you going to be joining us? There we go. So I need a way that I can just send things out, and the only way I know how to do that right now is, oh, come on, where is she? I know she's here. Stephanie Apin.
Hi. Yay.
Okay.
Somebody else is here.
I always get so impressed when people wear headsets. I just do. I think, wow, they must know something I don't know. It's probably true. They probably know a lot of things.
It tames the hair down is what it does.
I would like to get one, but do you see what I have here? Let me show you. I don't like earbuds. These are by Philips. They are padded, and they hook right on the ear. They are so comfortable.
Well, I actually have this little set right here by Philips. We're in a family of corporate sponsorship here.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, I just feel like I'm an alien ready to take off or something.
Yeah.
All
right. So we're here now. Let me pull up the forum again because I got to keep my eye on that while we do this. Yes, Ellie. Okay, go ahead, plug it in. Let me see here. I'm like multitasking again here. Hold on a minute. I forgot where I was. Yes, that's right. Okay. All right, so here it is. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and document this, and then we're all set to go. So I'm going to... Lizzie, I'm on the phone right now with a meeting, honey. Shoo, shoo, shoo. I don't know. That's my... Shoo, shoo, shoo. Let me see here. Okay, so we are starting now. And if you are watching and wanting to comment, leave your comments right here on the forums at B2BCyCon.com, and I'll be able to read it while we're sitting here talking, and we can answer the questions right there.
Awesome.
All right, so we are all set. And have you guys seen the websites yet?
Yep.
I love how they turned out, and I think I'm gonna clean up Brain to Books a little bit more because I'm still not quite happy with it. But
I have to still get really familiar with it. One of the things that I'm contemplating for the memoir people that I want to invite is to walk them through the site and Brain to Books, but specifically the B2B CyberCon site way in advance. Give them the opportunity to know how to get around in it. So that means I have to know how to get around in it.
Yes. I do improv a lot like right at the top of my head. So I didn't actually write anything down, take notes. I just kind of pulled a lot of everything. I'm regretting that now. but we'll try and start. The one thing that I'm getting a lot of feedback in was it was so confusing that I just turned around and left. That was the first thing. The second thing was we had so many Facebook events going on that people were competing for attention. The other thing was there was no traffic at all. And that's really where I want to focus for now. On Goodreads, we had almost no traffic. And what I think was happening was people were coming in, joining the group, then walking it and playing around and looking around. And then they didn't come back. So I think everyone did come in and walk the grounds, but I think it happened at the time that they joined the group, not during the convention. Now for 2015, I set it up differently so that I said no one goes in there and posts your booth until we're closer to the time to launch. So people could join the group, but they couldn't actually see anything. So I think that brought in more traffic. So what I'm planning on doing for 2017 is you can set up your booth, as I did in 2015, in the backstage, but a week prior transfer your information from point A to point B. One comment that was made by an author was she spent hours on her booth and got less traffic than other booths that had almost nothing. They were barren.
I had gone up the day of.
Exactly. And one of the things that we ran into a problem, the way Goodreads is set up, only the posts that are getting the comments in activity are being put to the top.
Right.
So and we had 5 pages of booths this year. And next year, if we're looking at the volume, we're looking at 15 pages. So one of the things that I will definitely be saying, yes, this is what we are doing next year. We're going to sort everything by genre, so that fantasy is going to have their own section. High epic fantasy is going to have their own section. Science fiction is going to have their own section. And if you are one of those authors, like I'm a memoir and a high fantasy, so I'm going to have 2 booths, one under memoir and one under high fantasy. Urban fantasy is going to have its own booth. Paranormal romance is going to have its own booth. I'd like to break down more romance genres so that people can sort by genre and see what's happening.
Actually, now, there was a really, really interesting blog post that BookBub did a few months ago, and it was comparing, because they have the data because of the BookBub like ad things that they run. They did analysis on which readers of which genres also read other genres and which readers don't read other genres, and that is a really, really good post to link.
Yes,
link to
absolutely.
The author information.
Do you have it?
I do have it somewhere. I can find it.
But
okay.
Here's my question about that. Is that gonna? You mean posting it on? I mean, I'm just wondering if, like, I'd like to read it just for interest's sake, but if I'm a new person coming into the fairgrounds, don't I already know where I want to hone in?
Well, it wouldn't be in the fairgrounds. We would put it on Brain to Books.
Oh, okay.
So that the authors, or in the backstage, so the authors can find it easily, but the readers and the people attending the convention won't be bothered by it.
Yeah. Keeping that fairground clear is going to be really.
And I think last year there was nothing on the fairgrounds. It was absolutely barren until the week of or the month of. And then this year it was the opposite. I said, you know what, go ahead and just go in. It'll be easier for us. But I think that really hurt us in the long run. So that's going to be the first thing. Now, I started playing around with a timeline. And one of the things, there's 2 things that I wanted. One person came out and said, I wanted to get my children more involved. And I'm screaming this out, yes, get the children involved, because that will really boost literacy. That does so much. So what I was thinking, and
also help if we separate young adult, middle grade, and children's books.
Yes, that's another thing. I mean, we're next year I'm wanting to get really technical with the subgenres. What I was thinking is launching. This is going to be a 4 to 6 hour thing. And this is just one example, so we're going to have this with all genres, but I'm going to use children's as an example. So we're going to begin with, let me see if I can show this to you. The first hour is going to be Aurelia's panel discussions. And that will launch the children's section. At the end of Aurelia's panel discussions, we will then kick off with story time, where we can come on, there can be book readings live, where we can be reading to the children from the excerpts that are available. And then we can also say, take a look over at the Facebook events. And at that particular moment, then all the children, young adult authors will be appearing on Facebook for the next 4 hours, which means that's only going to allow 4 to 6 authors per genre, period, which I think will condense it. That is also when the blog tour for children's will be launched and advertised. It'll probably be up prior, but that'll when it's be advertised. And the giveaway will also be advertised. And that'll focus all the attention for that 4 to 6 hours just on children's literature, like a spotlight. Now, while that's going on, let's say 2 to 3 hours in, we're also going to launch Sci-Fi Hour, let's say 3 hours later.
It might make sense, though, to do children's at the same time as romance.
Well, you can't be in 2 places at the same time, sweetheart. And that's...
Well, I might not even be able to be at the convention anyway. I might have a scheduling conflict.
Well, what I'm saying is, you're right with the romance and overlapping them. So you'll do your...
Because, like, the people who are into romance are older, and the kids are younger, so, like, that...
Yep.
Whereas some kids are going to want to go to the fantasy and the science fiction.
We are on the same page, yes, absolutely. So you'll do your Aurelia's Hour, the panel discussions for, or we can even do a children's reading for this particular one because it's children, so I don't see them sitting there for an hour. We just did an interview with Kate in Israel for my 8-year-old, and 2 minutes in she was distracted. So I think a children's book reading would be easier.
Well, I think it needs to be more. I think for children they need to have more games, like little things, like okay, do this little challenge for 10 minutes and then post your answer in this forum or as a comment or something.
Yes, Charlene?
3 or 4 comments, of course. Are you thinking of running this 3 to 4 hour segment for each genre 24 hours a day, or is there a 12-hour segment? How is that perceived? How are you going to go about that?
I was thinking, like day 1, we would only cover 3 genres, where it would be, let's say, children's, and then romance would overlap it, and then steampunk.
Okay.
And then the next day it would be fantasy and paranormal, romance, and memoir.
Right.
And then the 3rd day it would be science fiction, fill it in.
I see what you're saying. So that's according to the EST, so we're just going to let globally people click into whatever our timelines are. That makes sense. You have to draw.
Right. Yes. And Joe will still do his live coverage.
Great.
So, and what I was hoping for, I loved having Joe there at all time. That was phenomenal.
Yeah. It was a great go-to place.
It was fantastic. And now that I've got the forums at the B2BCyCon, that now provides a generalized, hey now, go-to place so people at all times can stop in and now comment. And that's one of the problems we had this year is we had people commenting on YouTube, people commenting at Google+, people emailing saying, where do I comment? It was all over.
Right. And that was one of the feedbacks that I got that I should have remembered to do, but I get distracted when I'm talking to people, is I didn't always remind people to tweet me their questions with the hashtag and the @mention during the actual panel.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the other thing is, like I said, Facebook worked out well, but the problem we were having is there were too many events. So next year we're only going to do 1 Facebook takeover. And like I said, this is where we're going to have to get really limited because at this point there are so many people that we can do too much info dump. So people are going to have to do a first come first serve sign up on the Facebook event. We're going to have to just limit it to 4 to 6 authors, or here's the other option: decrease it down to 30 minutes.
Or there's a 3rd option, and I don't know enough about social media, but just the way my head organizes material, so tell me if this is a bad idea. If I've got 10 memoirists, which is my goal for this year coming, okay, I want them in on the memoir 3 to 4 hours.
Yes.
In addition to that, I want them, the 9 that are not focused on the takeover, to be focusing on that person and on their website and bringing traffic in. So what I'm wondering is, does it make sense that the person who is having the takeover, if they can't do it on the main B2B, do they do it through their own website or through their own Facebook page?
That is a possibility. We have like 3 sources. We have Goodreads with the booths. We have the panel discussions with Aurelia. We have the Facebook takeovers, and we have the blog tours. What I was going to propose is one person gets to choose one of these events.
Oh, that's interesting.
So instead of one person taking Facebook, taking a blog tour, taking a discussion panel, and monopolizing and taking all of that, it's going to have to be one person per now, because we've stretched too large. Oh no! So one person. You have to choose your own, and if this fills up, you have to consider something else. Now, there's still going to be more people than we can support. That's where Goodreads booths come in, and it's just going to have to filter to there. Everyone gets a booth, but it's going to be first come, first serve for sign up on the blog tour, the discussion, and Facebook. Now, Aurelia, I noticed when we had 8 people on these panel discussions, it was a lot.
Yeah. I limited it to 8 just because
Right.
I can only have 10 people. So I'm happy to have it fewer, but
Yeah.
I also want to do personal outreach to get some big name people involved.
Right.
Because that's a way to get them involved without them feeling obligated to do anything else.
Yeah, very much. I hosted my first live Google Plus Hangout today with Kate.
Okay.
So I know how to work the system now. I have a video. I need to edit like the first minute of it out, and then I'll have that posted on Abyssinian Books. Okay.
And the other thing is, if authors have questions about anything related to technology or publishing or anything, I have office hours.
All right. So Aurelia just got voted to do our tech. So congratulations, Aurelia.
I'm going to pass that on to someone I train.
You are our tech.
So, if people have questions about publishing, about connecting with their readers, about figuring out, okay, how do I know who my readers are? What do I talk to them about? Anything like that, or anything writing related. Right. My Abyssinian Books site has a forum, and if you go to the homepage and then writers, there's one for writers, and if you click on that, it'll give you the information to get involved in that forum, which it's free. You just have to join. You have to make an account.
Now, did you find that there was a certain sweet spot, so to speak, with the discussions? Did you? I felt it was way too much. And I did the one-on-one with Heidi on zombies, and that was too small. That was
definitely too small. So the one that got the most views is the steampunk, and I think that's because the authors on that knew how to talk to readers.
Yes, we're going to talk about that.
And secondly, the authors on that know how to tell their readers to show up to something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
Adam
that had the youngest author was well educated about that stuff, and then the other 3 were older and have more experience.
I'll have to go back and I'm going to touch base with them.
Let me double check right now, but that was a significant. Okay, let me refresh this page really quick.
No, I took a look at it. It was 3 views. And it suddenly jumped up to 40 or something. It was crazy. It was a massive...
Okay, so right now we have the mystery one has had 32 views. Zombies has had 11. Epic Fantasy has had 18. The After Party had 23. Paranormal has had 34. The Domestic Violence one has had 10. Heroine's Journey has had 22. World Building has had 24, Multicultural has had 23, Steampunk has had 66, the Memoir has had 30, the Romance has had 30. That is not a significant, that's not insignificant amount of difference.
Double
Can
the
I-
next highest
Can I
ones.
step in and say something? Because I wasn't hard worker like you guys. I just kind of...
Kelly is here because I wanted Kelly here.
Because I've talked to Aurelia about it, and I was trying to understand how this was going to go, and I didn't quite... I just couldn't quite get a handle on it in order to do something. So I belong to a couple of book groups that I would have liked to try, or author groups that I would have liked to try and get involved. But I just couldn't quite see how to learn it myself and get them on board in the time frame that I was trying to do it in. And as I'm listening to you guys talking, I'm thinking there are a couple, and I know the romance ones, but I think there are also mystery ones. A couple of Facebook groups that are very author-centric that can get their readers to do anything, and they might be interested in some kind of collaboration, which would then solve the problem of getting readers to actually show up to things, because they're very good at it.
Yes,
they have Facebook parties that have thousands of attendees.
Yeah.
So that I'm going to throw that out as a suggestion, even though you guys are all the experts.
Yeah, that's the one thing I found, was that there was a very lack of promotion from the authors.
Yes.
Yeah.
We also, and I'm going to be discussing that. I have a couple projects I'm already working on, because what I did in 2015, we threw the convention and then it went to sleep, and I stepped back and said, okay, now I'm going to be a writer. And I wrote. And the CyCon kind of went away. Suddenly in January, it was great, like February 10th, so how's everyone feel about the convention again? And the wave I got hit back, I'm like, whoa, okay, all right, so we're doing this, I guess. And it suddenly I was thrown back into everything, which was great, but I think that was wrong to let it sleep.
I have a thing.
Yes.
Okay. So this is relevant, I promise. I just set up the Readers Book Award landing page, and I'll send you the link to it. The form is open. I set the deadline to be May 30th for nominations. But what I was thinking was I would take the nominations and figure out the best granular categories, and then if there are too many fantasy books, then I'll narrow it down based on how many reviews they've had, what that average rating is, and how long it's been published, so that a book that's been published for a month that has 10 reviews will be fairly compared against a book that's been out for a year that has maybe 100. And then I'll take the top 10 or something per category. But what I was thinking is, since I'm making this Brain to Books Cyber Convention podcast feed with all of everything from this convention, is I can do an interview with each of the finalists over the course of the year. So I'm not going to do one or two a month, but I'll do them, and I'll put those on that podcast feed so that there's a continuous new stuff. And I'll put together an automation of email to email those authors to remind them to tell their readers to read those other books, so that their readers can vote during the convention. And then if I'm not gonna be, I don't know what dates the convention is gonna be, but the dates
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, I might not be. I might be in physical meetings all day those days.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then I will try and schedule my panels during the month leading up to it.
Okay.
And then I'll definitely be taking questions in the months leading up to get readers involved.
Okay. Now, I can host now because I know how to, so that's a good thing. So we can toggle it, Aurelia, where you and I are jumping back and forth with hosting. So it'll give you a break, and we can both stretch it out. You can do the 12 panels, but now I can jump in and do 12 panels. So we can now stretch it out. So that's another possibility. Also, several people have come back and said, why wasn't the convention longer?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work for 3 days.
We'll make it be longer.
So what I'm thinking is we'll do the initial 3-day convention, but then we'll do a week after, where we'll keep certain things going, blog tours. We can keep going easily enough. Panel discussions.
Okay. What if we have the 3-day convention is the convention, and then we have genre-themed fringe festivals
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. So that's in. That's a yes.
What about, just a thought?
Yeah.
Instead of doing it after, do it before and have it lead up to
I love
the
that
big
too.
convention.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
That builds anticipation too, especially
That's
if they're with all of the like awards and the things you're like voting up to it, and then
yeah. Like I had the cover wars going. As soon as they were ready, I'm like, just go ahead, guys. So I left it open, and I loved that. I loved keeping it open because people were following it. I loved that. Same thing with the tournament wars. There was a lot going on where there's no reason why we could start it early to build up anticipation.
Right, and then that way authors who are participating in, like, I got knocked out of Cover Wars and the tournament the very first day because I was doing so many panels. I didn't have enough time to promote everything.
Yeah.
So if we have that time before and then we can talk about it.
Well, it's not even just having the time before, it's also understanding how to use automation so that your email system can remind your readers for you without you having to do it.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I should have set it up on Hootsuite, but...
So that's one of the things that I have education for, that I'm working on building in Obsidian.
There's our tech field.
Yeah.
I'm an engineer. I don't want to have to do the same thing over and over and over again. I want the robots to do it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I was, what I'm doing is I'm starting up 2 podcasts. I walked away from this convention going, podcasting, I can do that. So I'm actually starting up The Modern Philosopher. And I'll be launching that in May, and I'm wanting to bring in, I don't like I'm going to be the one person sitting there talking to people. So I love the discussions, and I literally have a jar here filled with ideas, and as something comes to me, I throw it in the jar, and what I'm hoping to do is having a wide enough panel that I can pull out one of those cards, and whatever I pull out is the discussion of the day. That's the first thing. The other thing involves...
I would like to do that.
Oh, no, you are in.
You didn't know it, but you're there.
I brought up some things with you in mind and with every one of you here. Every one of you, I'm like, oh yeah, this is for this person. No, you have no idea. Like some of the things, and it's funny because while we were doing the panel discussions, or even when I was listening back to them, I'm writing stuff down like, yeah, this is something. So it's definitely going in there.
Beautiful.
So that's definitely so, and I'm thinking once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks. So
the ones that I was talking about with the domestic violence awareness and the multiculturalism, I have not forgotten about those. I just haven't reached out to you guys yet because I'm slow. And those would be once a month. But the thing with the domestic violence awareness is that is a term that turns people away.
Yeah, it is.
And I've been having a lot of trouble trying to come up with a title for that would be appropriate, that would be inclusive.
That scared me a little bit, that one too.
Yeah.
What about something like growing domestic health?
Ooh, I like that. That's positive.
But that might make it sound like we're gardening organically or something.
Well, you are psychically. That's what you're doing. But what you could then say is a subtitle: the spectrum from violent interactions to peaceful and loving coexistence, or something like that.
How about redefining the social norm?
Of what?
I don't know.
Domestic violence awareness, instead of something that's so negative sounding, turning it to something positive.
It's not necessarily that people think that domestic violence awareness is negative sounding. It's that they think that it only applies to physical abuse.
It does,
They think that, and like I was looking up, trying to find essentially I was trying to find synonyms and stuff. Yeah. And I was coming across all of this research that lists everything. It lists animal abuse. It lists assault. It lists harassment. It lists.
We could just call it trauma awareness. I don't know. Anytime you have any kind of a word like trauma or abuse, it really, people immediately, and this is the lack of awareness.
Especially
that doesn't apply to me.
People don't think that they have trauma, so then they're like, well, that doesn't apply to me.
Right.
And then they don't.
This can too easily become a discussion.
Yeah, so this is just, that was meant as a side comment.
No.
Really it was.
The other podcast I am doing is Brain to Books classes. Hashtags. are grossly misunderstood by authors and are not being used, which ties
There was
into authors
you have
not
to have
coming.
Ani on when you talk about that because she has 2 tools that she
Yep.
she
Yep.
put out.
It was something she said actually that I went, oh, okay, we need to talk about this.
It's also
and then,
email.
Yep.
People need to be using email, and you can
Yes.
do it for free with MailChimp. It's not like it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to do. And if you want to do automation, then you really should use ActiveCampaign because it's the same price as MailChimp once you have to pay for it. And it's visually intuitive and not confusing the way.
Yeah, I just started using it, and I love MailChimp. I'm now addicted to it. SEO optimization, that is a big one. And this is my serious face going out to all the authors who don't know what that is, and I'm going SEO optimization.
You need to know it to pick your categories and to write your descriptions for Amazon.
Keywords, categories, it's vital.
Yes. Every time I get hey, send me your biopic or your author pick, I get something in, and it's like, do you have Jim? And I'm like, guys, SEO optimization. If your book is called Dollar and Shadow, you write out Dollar and Shadow. If your name is Angela B. Chrysler, you write it out because of SEO optimization. And that's how I got my face all over the internet, is because of SEO optimization. So I'll be doing a class on that. The other one that is huge is, and this is my favorite topic, how to talk to readers like a reader, which goes back to the steampunk panel. While we were doing our hangouts and all of our awesomeness.
This is something that a lot of the traditional authors who have been going to conventions for years are really good at, and indie authors who are newer tend to ignore that.
We talk like a writer, we sound like writers, we know what writers want because we are writers, we know what we wanted when we were trying to be writers. Readers don't care.
Readers do not want to know how you market to them.
Yes,
and want to know how you decide what category your book is going to be.
Yes, and I felt like
that.
a good chunk of our discussion, the entire convention was geared towards writers. And I had a lot of feedback coming back saying there's nothing here for readers. I want more reader. Your discussions had nothing to do with readers. And some topics were, while others weren't. And that's where it was definitely, something. And it's funny because I was talking to quite a few people. I think the science fiction panel did well as far as talking about what readers wanted.
Yeah, but it was also very sciencey.
I think for scientists it was great.
It's great for scientists, but not all science fiction fans are scientists.
Well, here's an idea, because I think one of the struggles is that, for example, what you're just saying about science fiction and scientists and how they want to shop talk, and memoirists want to shop talk. We want to talk about what happened to us and how things went. It isn't enough that we've written books and volumes. We want to get together at a panel and talk about it tomorrow. I'm right in that category.
Yep.
But so maybe what we need is a reader's special area, group, time, focus, where it's all about, where anybody that wants to contribute understands they're moving toward the other side of the mirror. They're going through. They're going into Alice's other side of the mirror.
But there's a problem. I think most of us have forgotten how to, which is why one of the things that I'm going to be discussing is how to think, talk, and sound like a reader and talk to readers on my panel discussion.
No, I think that's absolutely fabulous and really important. I'm talking about for the event itself. Yes. Leading up,
absolutely.
I want to do it. I want to do class.
Yes, absolutely. By the time this, and honestly, I think it's going to take multiple classes.
Yes,
it's going to take practice. By the time the CyCon rolls around, I want us all to be able to jump on and sound like readers again.
Exactly.
And it was funny because I pull on Patrick Rothfuss. Aurelia, you and I have a date to talk about Patrick Rothfuss.
We have so much to talk about with him. But it's not just him.
But I bring him up and I immediately sound like a reader. I cannot look at him like a writer because as a reader, he makes me angry on so many levels. So every time I bring up Patrick Rothfuss, I go into reader mode. Same thing with Harry Potter. I don't analyze the writing of Harry Potter. I go into the story with Harry Potter. I'm a reader again.
Right.
And so many, and I think that's it, is we're so busy analyzing so many books as a writer.
The other part of the problem, and this is why I started my book club, is that when you're starting to look into how to publish, you start reading nonfiction and you start talking to authors because you're trying to learn how to do it. and you stop reading fiction because you don't have time anymore because you're too busy learning how to do the business.
Unless it's Harry Potter. There's always time for Potter.
There's always time for certain favorites. For certain favorites, there's always time.
Yeah.
But yeah. I have a book recommendation for you, Angela. I have it right here. I'm rereading it again. Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay.
Oh yes, read that.
So good.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, it's fabulous.
I'll have to
Oh,
Like, if I can come close to that, I
You know
will
what,
die
George?
happy.
There is a book, my girlfriend just brought it over, called, I gotta think it, My Grandmother Says I'm Sorry. And it's like a memoir, but it's different, and it's actually book 2 of a series, New York Times bestselling author, traditionally published. But it's about this character who would sit there and have conversations with his grandmother, his or her. I don't know if it's a male or female protagonist, but he sat down and would have these conversations with his grandmother. And when she passed, he found all these letters, and she kept apologizing to society for everything she ever did. And I'll tell you, I read just the blurb and went, wow. So now it's on my TBR list. So, but yeah, I mean, we're back to sounding like readers versus writers. And I think the difference is when the story is so good that you forget to think like a writer. And for me, I'm a very, very picky reader. I am a horribly picky reader. So it's very hard for me to find a book that makes me forget. It just makes me want to sit down and enjoy it. Yeah, and readers are really good with sitting down and just enjoying the story for what it is. And yeah.
I'm not sure. I think there are a lot of readers who, like me, I don't think I'm that unusual, and I'm also really I'm looking for a lot of layers, and this leads into another question.
Well, that's the difference between a genre reader and a literary reader. And when more readers are more likely to be literary, and they're more likely to be highly educated, and they're more likely to analyze the books in the same way that you would have learned how to in English class.
No, the last point, no, not so much. To me, it's still in the gut. But I mean, you may be sort of speaking broadly across what you.
Well, from the people I know who read those types of things.
Yeah.
They're looking at they want to talk about the metaphor, and they want to talk about what it means.
Yeah.
And it's a different type of reader, and that's why it's really important to know for the different panels are going to appeal to different types of readers because of their topics.
Exactly. But here's another question that I have for you, Aurelia, and for anybody else that wants to jump in. You're talking about having a book awards program, and I'm really admiring your courage. And the thing that keeps me from doing that is, how am I going to make the distinction between what is well written and what is not? Is this basically only on reader response, or how do you do this?
So what I'm going to do is there's one form for nominations, and I'm closing those on May 30th, and you can submit any book that's been written since the 1st of April 2015. And what I'm going to do is, in that form, you have to tell me the average ratings and the number of reviews and the publication date. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through first, and I'm going to sort the books into, like, granular subgenres.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be steampunk, and there'll be fantasy, and there'll be science fiction, and there'll be young adult, and there'll be, but, like, it won't necessarily be all of young adult. It might be young adult contemporary and young adult fantasy and young adult, like, it'll be very granular depending on how many nominations I get. Mm-hmm. If I need to further limit the number of books, I'm going to do some math to weight the average rating by how many ratings there are, and then modulate that by how long the book's been out, so that it's fair for newer books versus books from 2015.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pick the top ones. The quality is based on the reviews and the ratings that readers have already given the book.
Right.
And then of the finalists, I'm going to be telling those people, hey, remind your readers to be reading these books. Remind your readers to be reading these books. Remind your readers to be reading these books. And between July and the end of February, I will be telling readers or authors, remind your readers to read these books.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the convention, it'll be a little bit like Angela's Cover Wars, but I'm hoping to be able to use Brackify.
Yeah.
So I'll have one bracket for each
Mm-hmm.
genre, and the readers will vote.
And Aurelia, start getting a hold of Brackify now because it takes a while for them to get back.
Yeah, I have, and I'm
still try.
I got to them, they replied to me, and then it took me a long time to get back to them because of complications. And then I did, like, last week, I think, and they haven't gotten back to me yet. But, yeah.
I didn't get the first response from them, so I think I just waited it was too soon to the convention for us to negotiate and work something out, so.
Yeah, So I need to follow up with them and, like, poke and prod. But definitely, I'm hoping to have that by the end of February for sure.
Yeah.
I really want it before that because there's something I want to do for my for one of my series.
Now,
so.
Also, I noticed you had sumo giveaways going on our website on B2BCyCon.
So I put that on there because, so it's a plugin. It only works on WordPress, which is why it's on my fashion design blog, because that's the only one that is WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
I put it on yours, which we can have it not on there. But,
no, it's fine. It's fine. I like it. I was taking a look at it, and
they updated it, so I'm hoping that eliminated the problem. But that's the software I was using, and it's very simple to use. You just have to have it connected to MailChimp, so that you can. The thing with it, if you connect it to MailChimp, you can remind people to share their lucky link.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to open those giveaways at a month before they close.
Exactly. Yes.
So that we have time to get the more readers who get in, and we can edit that confirmation email to say, hey, once you've shared your lucky link, go check out the rest of the convention here.
Yeah. No, very very much. That's exactly it. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing is for 2015, and it worked out great. I had everything running through Goodreads. And I took the opportunity to help people learn Goodreads. 2016, it was definitely a struggle, but I'm at that point where this thing is bigger than it can take on Goodreads. It's going to have to come off. So I am taking everything off of Goodreads with the exception of the booths, and everything is getting shifted to the website, which will bring in a lot more people, because now it's not, oh, well, I don't like Goodreads, or I just don't know what I'm doing. So here's the plan. B2BCyCon is the fairgrounds now. And it's going to branch out. I'm wanting to put some things together for Twitter. I'm wanting to put some things together for Google Plus and Facebook and Goodreads, which will allow people to select whichever platform they want.
And anyone who's listening to this who's good at Instagram, we might want to do some Instagram fan art contests.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. And I want
we would need to be letting people know about that in January, so they have time to actually create.
That's an excellent idea. Yeah. And it will definitely be side events going on at all the areas. So you can, and I don't know if you've taken a look at the B2BCyCon.com site yet, but it's set up now so when you get there, and thank you so much for your advice on it, Charlene. I applied what you suggested, and it's just beautiful. Thank you. When you get there, there's a sort everything by genre. So if you click on romance, you're going to get all the events for romance and the links and locations. But if you want to just hang out at Facebook, you can click Facebook, and it will take you to it'll give you everything going on at Facebook. If you want to hang out just at the site, you'll get everything. And if you want to sort something by, hey, I just want all the panel discussions, it will give you all the panel discussions. So it's this massive database for the convention, but now there's the forums, so you can hang out and talk. I'm bringing all the links in for the YouTube videos, so you can sit there and watch all the videos without ever leaving. And if you want to wander off into the different social media platforms, you can. Now,
there's also ways to embed Twitter streams.
Yes, there is. Yep. So
I don't know if you've done that yet.
Yes.
Twitter that would be a really, really great way to, especially for the panels. Like, we make one page that is the panel that's going on now, and then you change the embed code and refresh the page for the video part, but the Twitter stream stays, so it's always the same Twitter stream, and people know exactly where to go to tweet questions. And that'll bring more people in, too, because, you know, you tweet with the hashtag B2BCyCon so that people know to look at your comment, but then you put a hashtag based on the topic of the panel, and then it reaches more people. Yes, yes.
And the other thing is having it set up now so that when people come in and they comment, it's all going to be in a centralized location. So now it's one of the things that somebody mentioned was I wanted a schedule that I could print out and highlight so I could plan it. So here's my newest brainstorm was, it's already set up, so now you can print anything that's on B2BCyCon, that's already in place, and I will be putting together a schedule. But what I'm wanting to do is put together okay, so let's say you don't have time to do the convention, here's the highlights, and you can print that out. And then there's a Schedule A, kind of like they have at the Louvre. If you ever go to the Louvre, there's like 4 different tours you can choose from to accommodate each of your schedule. And I'm wanting to do that for the B2BCyCon, so next year people can select if they're too tired or they're too busy, they do want to partake, but they're not quite sure, or it's too confusing, they can just select whichever package they want. Reminder that it's all free, it doesn't matter what package you choose. You can print out the one to accommodate your schedule, and you're set. No thinking required, because we're doing it all for you.
and so, yes, and so the 3 to 4 hours you were saying about children's books, for example, when you focus in on that, it sounds to me like, and you're probably already ahead of the game on this, but it sounds to me like then there would be a really good idea after the event to play that again, but not during the event again.
That's right. That's right.
It's too confusing. You're back to that confusing thing. But if you just keep one person, one genre, or one area at a time, and then but let them know that afterwards, so that might also be in your probably also be in your planning packages.
Yeah, very much. Or if they missed it and they just want a romance panel, then say that's on day 1, they can. It's going to be there, so they can go in, click on romance, and it'll be there.
Oh, okay.
But we'll have a featured basically, it's a daily featured genre, and that 4 to 6, and every day we'll have 3 or 4 featured genres. So we're looking at 12 featured genres, and this is where it brings to my next point of I'm going to need genre assistance. And I think, Charlene, you're doing memoir. Yes?
Yep.
Okay, good.
I'm in.
Yes.
I'm going to be leaning heavily on both you and Aurelia, but I'll be following you, leading whoever I'm leading, following.
And that's exactly it. I can still manage. I just can't focus on one particular area anymore. I'm going to have to take a step back and point and do my pointing from up here, but I'm going to need people under me going, okay, I can focus here.
It would be really nice to have one person on tech support who...
That's you, Aurelia.
Who's not me, but someone who is not an author.
Yes.
Whose only job is during the convention to help people, like if they can't get Google Plus to work, if they can't comment for some reason, if for some reason something happens with the giveaways, if something happens with the website, all of that. It would be nice to have one person.
Honestly, I've got the site down as far as B2BCyCon. I am absolutely familiar with the system for WordPress, so I'm good with that. And
right, but I think there's more important things for you to be doing.
Yeah, and that's where I was running into problems. Is I had people coming in saying, "This is my problem. This is what I need," and it was all I could do to say, "Aurelia, there's issues with the giveaways." And you were doing panel discussions, and you were like,
I was in the middle of panel discussions while I was fixing that.
I was emailing you knowing she's in a panel right now, so I pushed it through, and I think that hurt us a lot with the giveaways being down up here.
Yeah, I'm really mad about that. I still know what
it's a learn. I view 2016 as the year we learned.
Well, the other thing,
everything was different and everything was new.
The other thing is it's going to be every year because we're predicting 2,000 people next year. If
it's going to be more than that.
3,500.
Yeah.
If we continue with the projection, 3,500 people.
And if I get all the authors I want to get, which I'm going to start reaching out to them in a month or so for the panels.
Yeah.
It's going to be
some of the authors I want to get have audiences of 100,000 or more.
So what I'm saying is that we're going to be in that same position every time. We're going to have to deconstruct, debrief after every convention, because as the numbers grow, there's no way to know ahead of time.
That's right.
Exactly.
But Aurelia, I think what your comment is about another tech person who is specifically an
only tech person. Like they're not involved in doing anything but tech support.
I think that's a really, really key.
I know who. I got him. I know who. I think I have somebody. He's yeah. I think I can handle it. I think I have to reach out. So I think we have a tech, and he's not an author. I don't even know if he's a reader, but he's a tech. So
super. The other thing, along with these the genre assistants, is to take anybody who comes in and needs to be hosted. Because I saw you, Angela, having to always scramble as different people came in throughout the convention saying, what do I do? And you were very generous in saying, come to me, I'll walk you through it. But you were doing the multi-armed goddess thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was literally, there was one panel discussion where I'm literally, yep, I'm participating in this conversation. And it was like, and yeah, it was a lot. That was okay, I cannot do this on my own. I'm going to have to bring in help. Now, one of the things that I really want to focus on, a lot of people came in and said, what's with all the fantasy? That was huge this year. People were not happy to see so much fantasy, except the fantasy readers, and so little everything else. So I have this massive stretch into the romance world, and I'm not tapping it because I'm not technically a romance author. So
well, and
I think
one of the people who was on the panel, and I didn't know this at the time, but she used to be the president of Romance Writers of America.
Yeah, okay.
And I didn't know that.
She needs to come in. Like, now. Yeah, we need help recruiting.
So I'm gonna reach out to her specifically and say how can I do this better next year? Because like there were some things that she was annoyed about. And so,
really? Oh, do tell.
Oh, it has to do with classifications of genre and what it means to be a romance writer, and there's a lot of controversy that we don't need to get into right now, but I will tell you later.
All right, that's fine.
I will tell you later.
I was going to say, if she wants to take over as like a volunteer for that genre, by all means, because I don't know it.
She wants to. I feel like she probably retired on purpose, but like she definitely has
yes,
a lot
I
of
think
good
she's.
advice.
I think she's done with that.
But I'm gonna definitely ask for her advice.
Yeah, I have a few romance authors that I have lined up as well, and I'm like, I really need to sit down and bring you in because.
And I have a bunch of writers that I have access to that write in a bunch of different genres.
Yeah. And steampunk is really, I really want to make that a genre. I really don't think it's sci-fi anymore so much as it's a genre.
It's really its
own thing now. So I think steampunk really needs the pedestal it deserves. But there's a lot of them. I know mystery, thriller, suspense, and horror I've been throwing together in one loop because we've had such a shortage up until this year where we're just not getting enough people. And now I don't think that's going to be a problem. Yes.
But here's the question. Already, I think you've got more genres than you have 12-hour slots over 3 days.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Is it an idea for some of the genres that you think are less populated, to include them in the, what were we calling it, the genre fest leading up to?
Yeah, that would be a great, yes.
So you go by the numbers and you say, well, the main numbers of people that were drawn to the convention, they go on the 3-day ones, and you start from there.
Yes.
And then the others can get their own thing happening.
Leading up to it,
and maybe during the 3-day convention, we combine genres based off of that BookBub overlap
There's
list.
a lot of crossover between some genres, too, like sci-fi and fantasy. A lot of those readers, they hop back and forth. And the same with horror. You get a lot of people from fantasy going into horror. I mean, like
science fiction into horror as well.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
The speculative fiction genre has a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
And maybe the category for the main 3-day event is speculative fiction.
Yeah.
And then we don't have the case of people who want to be participating in everything fantasy and everything science fiction and everything else like steampunk and horror. They can go to all of those things because those things are all under speculative fiction and they're all chronological.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of did that with nonfiction and memoir, and it was too small, really, a genre.
Yeah, and I threw Exactly. I threw contemporary fiction into that because we had like 2 or 3 books from contemporary fiction. I had one author saying, I don't want it grouped up with this. Can we group it separate? And I wanted to so badly, and I'm just like, we just don't have the numbers to justify it. It's so ridiculously small. I think young adult is another huge genre that we're getting people in on, that we can now branch middle grade and young adult, and now we've got new adult. So I'll tell you, as a mother, there was a moment where my head screamed when my 13-year-old upgraded to young adult. I'm just like, you're over here now. Yeah, it was.
But like people, I don't know. I'm weird because I like all the things, but
Yeah,
I think most people want, you know,
yeah.
if they want young adult, they don't want middle grade. If they
Yeah,
want romance, they
wasn't.
don't want erotica. If they want cozy mystery, they don't want thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that, Aurelia, and I think that's where, you know, whatever you end up doing, Angela, setting it up ahead of time and letting people know these
Yeah.
are the ways
Definitely.
to have it.
No,
This,
I'm definitely doing that.
I also
Yeah.
think it might be beneficial just as a matter of sanity to limit the nonfiction to memoir and creative nonfiction.
This is going
Because
to
the
be
how-to
yes,
books,
yes,
like there's
yes.
no place for the how-to
No,
books,
no,
and it's
this
way
is-
easier for them to market outside of a convention like this.
Yes,
anyway.
very much. Yeah, this is
Like,
a genre
A
fiction.
cooking book doesn't fit unless it's like I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
All of the
Cooking with Medieval Characters. That was
Like-
an awesome book.
that. Yes,
That would fit, but just
would
your
fit.
general cooking, no.
no.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's the general flavor of this is definitely towards fiction, with the exception of memoir, and because some of you even here have worked with memoir as a fiction piece for various reasons, then we do have a place for memoir. But no, I think there was only otherwise P.D. Workman's
Yes.
work that is nonfiction. That was the only other author that was nonfiction. So I don't know that it really warrants, at this point, you know, if later down the line some people who are writing nonfiction or creative nonfiction, we might put that in as a subcategory, memoir and creative nonfiction.
well, maybe we should have a category for poetry.
Yes.
That would
yes.
fit under
I'm sorry.
creative
I was
nonfiction.
craving it. I was absolutely craving poetry. We got into some discussions on Edgar Allan Poe, and at one point Jen sat down and read from Shakespeare, and I'm just like, I really want poetry. Let's talk poetry.
This is another reason why you need to read Tigana. Because the narrative is very poetic, and his metaphors are very poetic, and he has, like, the main characters are
Yeah.
musicians.
Yeah, the
He
author
has
actually wrote
poetry
a
in it.
poetry book, so.
Oh, I love, and it's funny, I cannot remember who it was. I really wish I could remember. Somebody mentioned, I hate poetry. I really hate poetry, but I really want to do this. But I like this kind of poetry, but I don't like poetry. And I'm sitting there listening to it. I had a something going on in one location. I think it was on my Facebook takeover. So I had the mic silenced and muted. And I'm over there working on the takeover, and I'm like, who is this? Yes! This is exactly how I feel about poetry. And I wanted to talk more on it. But by the time I got over, I'm like, why didn't we do poetry? This is, yeah.
That's also,
Well,
like,
April is
instead of a
National
panel,
Poetry Month, too, so it would be a good idea for poetry.
instead of a panel, we should have an open mic session on Joe's
Yes.
live feed.
Yes.
A poetry slam.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You could do a poetry slam.
We could.
Yeah, that too. Poetry slam, open mic, and I'm also doing an open. I booked myself way too much for the takeovers, so I did 1 or 2 takeovers, and then I said, okay, open hour, everyone go in, and they loved it. Like I had authors going, ooh, 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 when's the next takeover? And I'm like, oh, okay, that was popular.
I think you should schedule those in.
I will be.
Within a genre.
Yes, yes. What I'm probably going to do is every 4 hours to end and start the next genre, I'm going to do an open hour. And let authors come in and just blast. That way every 4 hours is going to be a new hour. And I think for the evening, and I did notice this, I was up at 6 a.m. because it was the convention, so I was up at like 4 a.m. on the convention working. So I got up at 6 o'clock, I saw that the takeovers were starting. So I jumped over to the takeovers at 6 a.m. There was one person on. And I was like, okay, so it was dead for like 2 to 3 hours. As much as I wanted to get everybody in, it got to the point where it was futile having people come in. And I think what we're going to do next year is limit it. We're probably going to have it so that within, like, from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we're going to focus on one genre. And from 3 o'clock to
I think you
5
should
o'clock,
pick which hours are the dead hours based off of where the authors are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
whichever time zone has the fewest authors represented is like that when they would Yeah.
And because I mean, what I've noticed when I'm on any social media is 11 o'clock really takes off. 2 o'clock is massively high, and then it kind of trails off around 6. I think that's dinner hour, or it's, I don't know, but 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, it's kind of slows down. But 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m., it's jumping again. And then around 11, 12 o'clock, it starts to die off. And I just want to say, same thing for gaming. When I'm online gaming, it's the same thing. So it's really, there is definitely, and I think it's around sleep schedules, work schedules, there is definitely, it's really interesting to watch. So I think if I schedule the takeovers around those particular peak hours, you're right, the higher genres for the higher peaks. And also when we do the children's takeover, we're going to have to focus on when is a good time for bedtime and taking that. So probably like mid-afternoon, like 11 o'clock in the morning or something, we'll probably do the children's hour.
Yeah.
So definitely want to bring more children in because they need to
When you do the takeovers, are you talking about giving one author an hour, or are you saying here is the romance takeover, everybody gets to jump in and do their thing?
Well, until you said that, I was thinking one author per hour, but that's, I see, I've done the hour takeovers, I've done a 2-hour takeover, and I've done a half-hour takeover. Half-hour takeovers are good, you get in, you punch it out, you leave, and I think that's going to have to be the case, is a half-hour takeover.
Okay.
I'll just recommend that they only focus on one book for half hour, or maybe 2. But
or
for
focus on getting
authors that have a bunch of...
Yeah, they really just need to get their name out there, and they need to sell their bio and not the books.
They need
and
to
that's
get
something
people to sign up to their email list to find out.
Yes,
They
and
need
that's
to
going to
tease
be
their
that's
email.
going to be another Brain to Books discussion, is focusing specifically on selling you an author, not your books. If I say J.K. Rowling, you buy the books. You don't question Harry Potter, and that's something that you say Tolkien. You don't say The Hobbit. You say Tolkien, and that's something that a lot of authors struggle understanding. Is you really want to push your name, not your genre, not your books. So that there's really a different way of marketing that when you do that. So that'll be absolutely, we'll do the 30-minute takeovers, and then an author needs to come in and focus just on selling themselves, their bio.
And connecting it somehow that they get, as you were suggesting, and I just want to emphasize this because it's a real weakness in all of my marketing, is how to get people to sign up for the email list.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's another part of the education is, what do you do with them once they're on the list?
Yes.
Because a lot of
This
people
is my
are
forte.
intimidating.
Yeah.
People are intimidated about starting their email list because they don't know what to do. They're like, oh, I have to send an email. I have to tell them something once a month.
Yes.
Or once
No.
every 2 weeks. What?
Yeah.
I
I can work that into a class as well. When I started off, I sat down with a PR agent and she gave me a crash course in all of this, and it was probably the most, well, it's you're seeing it in action. Everything that I pulled from her is, you're seeing it. That's B2B, that's Brain to Books, that's all of this came from her. And I'm like, all right, I know what to do. So I will definitely be also talking about email lists and subscribe lists and things like that.
Great. I'm looking.
I cry every time I hear someone, well, I haven't started one yet. Or
well, and if you want to learn more than you already know, go look up Andre Chaperon's Autoresponder Madness.
Andre
Chaperon, Chaperon.
And what is it called? Madness?
Autoresponder Madness.
Great. And on that note, ladies,
and even if you're never going to do an autoresponder, it's worth seeing what he does, because as fiction authors, his techniques should be a piece of cake for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to go. This has been great. I'm looking forward to watching the rest of it. Bye, Heidi. Bye, Angela.
I will
Bye,
tell you.
Kelly. Talk to you ladies later. Bye-bye now.
Has anyone else been through withdrawals with authors and people after the convention? I slept for 2 days.
I have so much to catch up on that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I haven't had time to go through withdrawal. I've been catching up on stuff.
I got off the convention and I slept all of Monday and half of Tuesday. By Wednesday, I went, yay, it's Monday.
No.
and then I've been talking to Jen, and I'm like, I miss everybody. So it's, yeah. And then I got my sites launched. I've had some personal issues with Brain to Books, but I finally got that up again and running, and I'm thrilled. Then I got the B2BCyCon started up first, and it just, I found a theme on WordPress that just everything fit into place, and I'm just so thrilled with it. If anyone has any kind of comments whatsoever.
I just put the link, Angela, into the chat.
Yeah. Okay, excellent.
That page exists. It's up. If there's a problem with it, email me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty much there.
Okay. All right.
I still have a lot of other behind-the-scenes stuff to set up, but the submission form should be live.
Now, my question is, should we do these, I mean, between Brain to Books podcast, and I think we're good with having a monthly meeting, so to speak. I think that really, mostly it's just author training. Literally, that's what it is. It's marketing and advertising training. Now, Heidi, were you the person who said marketing and advertising are two different things?
Yes.
You are the person who I need to speak to.
They are two different things.
Yes, you are on my list. You said that, and I'm like, we need to talk, because you are definitely someone I want to bring into this, because I'm going to be blunt. I love marketing and advertising far more
I like
than
marketing.
writing.
I hate advertising.
Amen.
I think that's what it is. I think I don't like advertising.
But the problem is that people think that advertising and marketing are the same thing, and so
Yeah.
then they advertise, and then
Yeah.
nothing works, and then they get frustrated.
Yes.
And understand my feelings.
What it is advertising is when you're spending money and putting up ads. So like if you do Facebook ads, if you do Twitter ads, if you're paying for BookBub, those are all advertising. And with those, they should generate sales. And if they don't, you need to readjust the way you're doing something. With marketing is a long-term strategy. So building your email list and getting your blog up and writing your blog, creating social media engagement, all of those are forms of marketing. And at some point, you will start seeing sales. But in that first 3, 6, 9, 12 months, you might not. And then people get frustrated, and they're like, oh, I didn't get any sales from this, so this is stupid. I'm just wasting my time.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the perspective you go at it, you are.
Well, if
and that's
have the marketing to support it.
Absolutely.
That is exactly
The advertising graphics need to match what people are seeing when they go to your website.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yes.
There's
Now
a lot
I'm
of things
reaching
to
this
do.
out. This is huge, because I'm reaching out to everybody now who's watching this video, who's partaken in the cyber convention. This is marketing. This is going to be I'm not going to see any feedback. It is long term. It is something that grows.
Yep.
You're not going to see sales. And what I think
Well, you might see some. I saw some.
Right.
But it's not like you're going to expect to see $500,000, $700,000 in sales.
And then I had authors getting very frustrated because I saw no results. And here's the difference. I think they were marketing, and this is marketing, but they were expecting the results of advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And that was developing a lot of frustration from authors. And
they're tracking the wrong metrics.
That's right. And what it comes back to is, with Brain to Books, there's a lot of authors who love writing, but they hate advertising and marketing, to the point where they drag their feet with it, they struggle, they reject it. I wrote a whole article on them rejecting it. They're like, look, I'm an artist. I'm against the man. This isn't a business. But it is.
You don't want to sell books. That's okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a great group on Facebook called For Love or Money by Susan K. Quinn. She runs it. That is a great group for marketing techniques and stuff. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. The sources are there. And what I'm hoping to do with Branded Books is to, first of all, provide authors with a tool to teach them how to do this effectively and enjoyably, because it is fun. For me, marketing is a hoot.
Yep.
And the other word that was really frightens a lot of people is the word networking. And it's funny, there was one point where we were all sitting there chatting, and I said, "You realize we're networking, right?" And it was like, whoa, really? And I'm like, yeah, this is networking.
Networking is supposed to be fun,
This
guys.
is fun, guys.
It's not like going to those career fairs when you're like an undergrad and passing out as many business cards as you can just so you don't have to take them home. That's not
Unfortunately,
networking.
so many people think that's exactly what networking is. And you know, I went to some networking conferences out here when we moved to Salt Lake City, because I was expecting something more like what we did at Branded Books. That's my experience out east with networking. And I went to these things, and it's all these people just walking around handing out cards, and I'm just like,
what are you doing?
I have a bookmark. You want a bookmark? I didn't even think to bring cards, because that's not how we did it in the East, you know?
No, it's and New York is huge with them. We sit down and we have like martinis, we have a drink, and we sit there and chat. That's how you network.
Yeah, that's what networking is. You're getting to know the person, not I've got a card with a name on it.
Yeah.
Let's clarify for a second. Authors, you should be going to brain2books.com. Readers, you should be sending readers to B2BCyCon.com.
Yes, absolutely.
Two different places.
And my fans need to go to AngelaPChrysler.com. I have Angela readers. I've got readers in general at B2BCyCon, and then I've got authors. And I definitely don't want my authors mixing with readers, because authors, you can't market to both. And this is another topic for Branded Books on the podcast, is you cannot cater to readers and writers on your website. You cannot do it. And Sanderson is a great example. I love Brandon Sanderson's website. If you haven't had the pleasure, go to Brandon Sanderson's website. OMG, it is a gorgeous site. And it's all for readers. But he's got this sliver of authors, and under that, he's got this whole forum that he's hidden for authors. That's the right way. It's absolutely the right way to do this. But he doesn't go on extensively. He's got 2 or 3 articles, and that's it. But those 2 or 3 articles are powerful. I read them, and they actually replace a live writers' convention, because he tells you everything that he learned at the live convention. And I sat down with another author a few years later after I read that article, and he said, "Oh yeah, I was at a live convention once." And I'm like, "Okay." And he told me about this writers' convention, and he literally quoted what Sanderson said on his site. The difference is, I'll tell you what it is, because it's it. The difference is, I didn't spend anything. This other author spent over $4,000 on a plane ticket at the convention for the same piece of information. Here's the information. When you are telling a story, you want that character, for developing plot, you want this character or your plot to go in a direction where none other has gone before, and to pull it off, it's simple. Identify the one thing your character would never do. Now, quote, "How awesome would your story be if your character had to do that one thing?" That's it. Sanderson said the only thing he took out of that convention that really impacted him was that comment. He went home and literally rewrote his entire first book. Look where Brandon Sanderson is. The author I was speaking to said the same thing. He went to a live convention, and the only thing he could tell me about how great it was that comment. Think of the one thing your character would never do. Now write it into the story that he had to do that. So there, I've told you don't need to go to a live convention anymore. That's it. So
except to make friends.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're back to the networking.
Really what you
have
should be
different
going for.
purposes. I mean, the Smarter Artist Summit that I went to, and Kelly went as well, it was a lot of very advanced business and marketing and email and what's the future of entertainment going to be like. It was not.
That's not That's not a writers' conference, though, is it? That doesn't sound like writers' conference.
Well, it's intended to be a conference for artists to be successful, however.
Yeah, very much, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So Novelist Inc., I would say, is a writers' conference, but it focuses a lot on business, not craft.
Yeah.
And that's
because
that's the
it's for authors who want to sell their books.
Yes, yes.
And it's been going for quite a long time. And I I ran it for a couple of years, but I also have been going for a long time. And I can say that, Angela, you're right, that usually you get, you'll go to that conference and you'll get like maybe not one thing, but maybe like 5 things that actually hit you. But every year, for me, it's 5 different things.
Oh.
So if you can go, it's good, but it isn't necessary because you can read things on blogs.
Yes.
There's just something very energetic about getting together.
The other thing is
the networking. Yeah.
The other
That's
thing
really
is
what those
one of the speakers at the Smarter Artist Summit said that she doesn't go to writing conferences anymore to learn about writing. She goes to those conferences to talk to bookseller representatives.
Yes, yes.
People from Nook, people from iBooks, people from Amazon will be at those conferences.
Yeah.
So that gives you a way to get a face-to-face
Yeah, and it makes and again, we're back to the networking. It really makes a bigger impact when you meet somebody face-to-face as opposed to, hey, remember me, I'm just a name. You really have to, and that's just, it's the networking.
That's why I like Google Hangouts better than telephone calls.
And that's what I was
like
going to say
else.
to Aurelia and Angela, who are doing podcasts. That's actually the best way, because then you invite exactly who you want to talk to.
Yeah. I love this. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Have we talked about anything? Do you want to go over the highlights of the results from the survey?
Yes! The survey. That's a good source that I should be pulling on right now. let me pull it up here.
Oh, and maybe for Brain to Books, you should put up a survey or like a form or something that doesn't have an end, where people can go ask questions for your podcast. I mean, I have mine on my writers forum already. There's a thread there specifically. Ask your question for office hours. And if it's a question that's like very specific, I will have you on office hours to talk it through live, because I think having those specific examples helps people.
Yes.
Anyways,
all right, we're going to go ahead. No, you're fine. You're fine. No, wonderful. More information, absolutely. We're going to go ahead and start part 2 now of the discussion, and we're going to go through. We have 56 responses. I'm not going to go through every one of them, but this is a snapshot to get you an idea. And this is absolutely public information. I have no problems getting this out there to people so they can see it. It was really hard saying I absolutely want people's opinions. I want to know where we messed up, what should be better. And then I got, well, this stunk, or this wasn't great, and this needs to be improved. And I'm going, yep, don't take it personally, and you asked for this information. I haven't, that was 71% of our population came from the United States. And the next one in there was 8.9% came from Canada. We also had UK making a large presence at 5.4%, and Australia at 7.1%, and other is there. So we are still looking a good portion from the US.
And it's primarily English-speaking countries, which makes sense since the convention is English.
In English, yes, that does help. We have, how did you hear about the B2BCyCon? 35% heard it from me, or I invited them. Or well, I guess they heard it from me. And then 16% heard it from somebody other than myself, and 19% stumbled upon the convention through Goodreads. That's good to know that that's happening. Who invited you? 52% were invited by myself, 22% other, and 17% were just browsing. For genres, we have 85% of our readers read fantasy. That's my fault again, because still learn Shadow. 78% read science fiction, and 57% read young adult. 50% read classic literature. Woohoo! That's a good sign.
I like classic literature.
I think everyone loves.
Angela, we need to have a discussion of the French writers.
Yes, French. Oh, okay. Focus. 46% were romance. I'm going to break those down. I'm probably going to take those stats, because that right there tells us who we need to bring more in. Some of the lower ones were poetry. We have other, horror, and memoir. We only had 23% of memoir. So we are definitely getting more in but we want to boost those numbers. We want to see like 100% across the board. Which Brain to Books events have you attended? 96% attended this event. We had 14% from 2015. 7% went to our summer blog tour last year. And 3% were signed up but didn't go to anything at all. So, was this your first convention? 52% said yes, this is their first convention ever. 35% said that they've only ever been to live conventions, and 11% said I have only ever been to online conventions. I'm curious if there are other conventions or if it was just B2BCyCon.
I think there are other conventions.
Yeah, there are.
Something
I know there's a fantasy virtual convention tour thingy. Because I've seen that one on
Facebook.
Facebook.
It would be good to get like a master list of all of these events because we could potentially cross-promote. We could potentially reach out. If there's a romance convention, an online romance convention, maybe we can reach out to them and say, hey, what time is your convention? We'd like to have more authors involved in ours. We're happy to like tell people when yours is. Something like that.
Yeah. Regarding the if you've been to live conventions, how does this one compare? And we have a lot of ranged responses. We have a very confusing to it doesn't compare. A good portion of these said that the energy did equate, and some of them were similar. And then one person sums it up very nicely by saying it depends on how involved you were or not. One person came out and said that it was absolutely nothing like a live convention. The energy was just not the same. So that was interesting. The dates are great. I'm not going to mess around with the dates at all. Either people didn't care, 18%, or the dates were great, 76%. So we're fine with the dates. The dates are probably going to stay the same around that first week of April. The way I've been designing these is it's always the first weekend in April, unless it lands on April 2nd, which is my husband's birthday, or Easter Sunday, and then it gets bumped to the next one. So other than that, it should always be around the first weekend of April. 67% said they love the convention. They're there next year. They've already marked their calendars. 16% said they're not sure how they feel about it. They may watch again from the sidelines. And 14% just said other. This is encouraging. 1.8% said it was too confusing and will not attend next year. So that is that makes me happy. Let me see here. And 96% went to the Goodreads. We had 49% at the Cover Wars, 38% did the jackpot giveaways, 50% did the Facebook convention takeover. And we have a sorted responses on did you find everything okay? 29% said, I didn't care if I got lost, I browsed a bit and had a great time. And 25% I had no problems finding everything. So a little more than 50% were okay. 18% said I was lost but found everything through the maps or another navigational device. 18% said I got lost, was frustrated but stuck through it. And 7%, 4 people, got lost, left, it was too big or confusing to find their way. So I feel good about that.
Well, and there will always, no matter how organized
and there's going to be,
make it, there will always be people who just don't understand how.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely looking for I want to decrease, these are my goals for next year. I want to decrease the confusion. I want to increase the ease of navigation and simplify everything, no matter how much larger we make it, so that when they step in, it's very clear-cut. It is simple.
And I can talk to you about this more, but that's a reason that you might want to switch from MailChimp to ActionCampaign so that you can make readers-focused automation that when they sign up, they immediately get a sequence of emails that's like that walks them through step by step, one thing at a time.
Yes.
So each email is only talking about, and this is when you sign up to my Purple Court, this is what you get, because first of all, I need to introduce myself to you more fully, and secondly, I need to introduce you to the website because it's a membership site.
Yeah.
There's exclusive content there that is only for people of the Purple Court, and I have email lists for my different series as they come out that are not membership sites.
Yeah.
Like, that's just email. And so the purple cord is more inclusive and it's more interactive. And so I go through, and it takes a whole month. This sequence of emails takes a whole month.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to know me, but you get to know each piece of my site at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and that's a really good way to increase engagement and make sure that people know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great idea.
A similar thing. I'm not sure how they compare. I'll take a look because I was looking at buying ConvertKit.
I've heard that ConvertKit is much more confusing to use. The thing with ActiveCampaign is that when you go in to like set up an automation, it looks like you're making a flowchart.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's that easy.
Mm-hmm. The next thing we have here is, what would you have liked to have seen to help you find everything? And I'm going to read through a couple of these because this is great. I think that the author booth should be organized by genre. Don't think that it could be better, just couldn't get to all the things I wanted because of time overlaps. So time overlaps is something we'll have to look at. A live chat assistance hotline or a printed schedule. I did see a post from someone suggesting the concept of aisle for each genre. It sounds like a great idea. More central website with everything in one place, not just a few events. And that's actually the comment, whoever you are, thank you, who inspired the B2BCyCon.com site. A central location with the pre-planned events in different groups, and a list of events being run live or recorded coverage. Ooh, live or recorded. Okay, so that's going on there as well.
Which we had. Oh, but a lot of it didn't get posted the same day. That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's something I'm going to add to the site later this week. Some of the feeds were hard to follow. Didn't even find the map, so ... If you labeled the messages as to what they contain and didn't send more in a thread until I've clicked on one, so can shut off any thread I didn't want to continue with. Working links. So apparently we had some broken links.
Can I
yes.
Can I stop at the finding the map?
Yes.
I almost had that problem, and the reason why is because the image did not look like a clickable button.
Okay.
It looked like it was just a header.
Okay.
Right.
It didn't look like a link.
Okay. All right.
So like having the rounded edges and having a little bit of shading that makes it like my thing looked like a button, and I don't know what it linked to, but like I actually have an InDesign template, so I can change the background color, I can change what it says, and it'll still have that button looking 3D-ness to it.
Okay.
So if you just tell me what buttons you want,
that'll be perfect, because we'll do that
until next year to make them. I can make that happen.
So that's one of the notes for that we have to do, is make sure our buttons look like buttons, so people know to click them.
Yeah, because and the other thing about the map is that once I did get to it, I wanted the option to search for authors by like alphabetical. So like I could click on A and then get only the A authors.
Right.
Because there were a couple times when I was looking, like I wanted to, and I stopped because it ended up being too much for me, and I don't know if anyone else noticed. But at the first few panels, I was posting people's website and Goodreads booth links. And I had asked people to send them to me so I could put them in the spreadsheet before, but not everybody did. So there were a few authors I had to look up on that map.
Yeah.
And I had to scroll really far to find something.
I need to go over that, because that was huge. I don't think some people are aware of how big this is. We had 318 authors.
Right.
So when I said, please send me your author pics, I had people coming back saying, well, I already sent it to you. Just check your email.
No.
Do you have any idea how much email I've got?
Right.
Even when I sort it, it is a nightmare. And that's something that it was like, I know I'm repeating myself, but could you please just resend it? It was a lot. Same thing with browsing through certain things. Authors are not aware of how much.
This is why when I have forms, if you don't fill out the form, I don't know that you want to do something.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and that's some
because
of the things I changed.
Gives me your information in an Excel spreadsheet that I can work with in an efficient manner.
Yeah.
And with this is a note for the giveaways. Authors signing up for the giveaways, I already have a form. I made it after everybody had already signed up. But for this future year, I'm not going, I'm still doing the giveaways. I'll still organize them and set up the King Sumo stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't fill out that form, your book is not going to be in the giveaway because Goodreads stopped letting me message people.
Yes.
Because I
there were
had sent out too many messages.
Yeah,
Said,
it comes across as
spamming.
And Facebook has that problem as well.
Right. Whereas if I have you in that form, then I have your email, and I can send one email to everyone who's submitted a book. And that saves me time, and it saves me headache.
Yeah. So and I'm going to be doing the same thing. Like I said, I'm pulling things off of Goodreads. So if I have a message to send out for 2017, I'm not going to be mass messaging the group. I had 2 people this year who said, can you please stop sending me messages? I'm not going to be able to participate, but they wanted to stay in the group because they didn't want to miss out for next year. Right. And I had to tell them, well, first I thought I could do it, so I said yes, and then I went back and said, okay, that's my mistake. Apparently Goodreads will only let me send a mass messages or nothing. So in 2017, I will be having a sign-up. Basically, it's already there. It's the Brain to Books members. If you want to be involved in 2017 and get involved with the messages, you're going to have to sign up for the newsletter. That way, when there's something, I can just email you out. And if somebody wants to be removed from that list, I can.
Well, and you can have it so that they can unsubscribe themselves.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Which is a lot easier, and it keeps us from spamming you, and it keeps you happy, and
And they can stay in the group. They'll still get that notice, that occasional Goodreads notice. But now I'm managing it and not Goodreads as to how often and how little. It'll be a lot more in my control, so I can limit certain things. It'll be a lot easier. So there's going to be a lot of that where it gets switched over to the website. Yeah. I have here a post in capital letters, your 7 steps to start at the very top. Since I arrived by a Facebook post, I didn't find this until much later. Also, a clear designation of booths, fairgrounds, and ask participants to write booth in their description. Jane Doe's booth. That was the one thing that I noticed. A lot of people were putting catchphrases in their titles. I don't think that worked very well this year. What did everyone else notice with that?
I don't know. I didn't spend any time in the booth.
Well, yeah, some of the booth titles were kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what exactly do you write, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And
that's one of the
things. It was hard because, like, I put my name and I put my genres in my title so people would know what they were getting.
Yeah.
And a lot of authors didn't do that. They had their book titles in their booth names.
Yeah.
But I didn't know whether it was fantasy or romance or what. And that's where the map came in handy, but if you were just scrolling, it was confusing.
And I noticed that last year in 2015 that happened a lot, and I'm like, really, you want to focus on genre in your name because you're selling your name, not your book. And it went well. It went very well, and we did see more traffic this year. And again, I didn't instill that. I was like, whatever you guys want to do. And somebody started putting out a tagline, and then suddenly it caught on, and everyone was suddenly competing for taglines, who could make the better tagline. And I think, it did get a lot. It did get more confusing. It wasn't organized. But again, once we sort by genre, that is one thing that we'll clarify.
It'll also help with even if the genre categories are fantasy, science fiction, steampunk, you still want to use those granular things. What kind of fantasy is it? Is it urban fantasy? Is it like an adventure fantasy? Is it a boarding school fantasy? Is it you put those in there and then people know specifically. Like I had this problem when I was making my booth because I write so many different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That, like, if I had put all of those things in the title, it would have cut it off.
Yeah, exactly. And one person wrote the name of the author and the topic discussion was one of the recommendations. Better organization in the forums, perhaps author booths organized by genre. I had a lot of trouble finding everything, so I did miss out on some of the live events, partly because I didn't understand how huge the event was, first-time attendee. I love the idea presented about a brochure, which could help explain how it works and the multiple ways to participate. One person said, why a brochure? Why not just do a website? So again, we're back to the website, which I think helped out a lot.
Well, this is the thing. I think we need like a flyer that's a one-pager that we can print out that has a QR code for the website.
Yes.
That we can pass around to everywhere.
Yeah.
I think we need a printable schedule of the big things.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
here's
I
another
also think,
thing.
okay, so you know how I helped you with that book for authors?
Yes, yes.
I think we need to do one for readers. Like when you go to a big event, they give you like a program.
Yep.
Yes, yes, that exactly
And
it.
it's not like just a schedule. I mean, it has a schedule in it, but it's
Mhm.
got this is what this is, and this is what this is, and this is what this
Mhm.
is. So I think
Yeah.
we need like a book, and then we can have it as an ebook. We can have it as a PDF that people can print out if they want to,
Yeah.
and it's really easy to download all of that stuff.
I just scanned through the rest of these, and in the end, all of these really are saying the links weren't working or they couldn't find live events. So there was a lot of I couldn't find the right link, and that's going back to it should be cleared up with the B2BCyCon website, because now they can categorize and move around. I also have here, what did you love most about the convention? I could attend in the dead of night. The people, all the work that went into it, easy access. Someone wrote funnel cakes. Giveaways. That it happened. Facebook take. What's not to love? It was awesome. Finding new authors. The giveaways. So it looks like in general, everyone loved everything.
Yep. Somebody found something they loved. Yep.
Yeah. What did you hate most about the convention? Unfortunately, I could watch or listen to any of the couldn't watch the Google Hangouts. Couldn't find them. Everything was spread out, not as cohesive as it could be. The feed confusion, not being able to attend more events. The TBR list is super long. Thank you for that. Didn't hate anything.
I hated that.
Yeah, seemed geared to fantasy and other fiction. There weren't more readers. That one came from a writer. So much information I couldn't take it all in. That's info dump load. Yeah. Wait, info dump. Didn't hate anything. Goodreads. Someone wrote Goodreads.
That's what they hated about it.
Here you
Well,
go.
some people don't like Goodreads, and
Yeah.
I've started to feel that way. Amazon bought out Goodreads, I think, over a year ago, and they didn't change it for a long time, but they've started to. And the changes that they have made, I have noticed, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm getting, instead of getting advertisements for books, I'm getting advertisements for mouthwash.
Wait, Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, this is a book site, Amazon.
Yeah.
We don't want Xbox.
Well, Amazon doesn't want you to buy books because they don't make their money from books. They make their money from their electronics and everything else. So it's, I hate it.
Yes. No, I was right there with you. I saw Xbox and I'm like, this is a website for books? That's offensive. And it's Xbox. Come on. Okay. PS4 lover here. Okay. One person wrote, the first page of the booths kept being dominated by people posting more frequently. Not necessarily that there were discussions, but just posting for this and that reasons. I wonder how visibility to readers who are attending diminishes the further back in pages the booths become. Basically, they're saying that, of course, if you're not posting and if you're not active, your booth is going to get lost.
Right.
One person wrote they hated the most about the convention, that life kept interrupting them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's generally the same thing. So, I mean, mostly, again, I see that it's the links, it's condensed on the site. It does need to come off of Goodreads more. I have, what would you have liked to have seen that was not there? Can't think of anything. Well, maybe author discussion and ideas, science, tech. There may have been, and I didn't know. People better links to so we could simply click and attend sessions. Although the links may have been there, they were too hard to find. More centralized, non-Google Hangout events that engage readers. Clearer ways to find events. Hard to say since I saw so little. It would be nice to be able to read the events I missed. Better interaction with the speakers at panels and live coverage. More integration.
I agree with that. I was really sad that people didn't post more comments.
But
and part of that is my fault because I didn't remind people. But
again, what I'm
also
hoping is
Pete couldn't find the links to.
Yes, what I'm hoping, and this is something I'm going to be really focusing on for next year, is whatever link you do, whether it's Blam, Google+, YouTube, whatever you are doing, there will be go to the forums and you can just document right there in the forums.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think I even might go into those forums like later today or maybe tomorrow, and make a forum thread.
Yeah.
Because I want readers to be suggesting topics for these forums. I want readers to be posting what questions would you like to ask. I want them to be posting that now.
Yeah.
I don't want people to feel like they have to wait until the convention is going on to post questions. If you have a question, post it now.
Step in to volunteer to do something?
Yeah.
Because you're talking about making a schedule page for next year.
Yes.
So that is something that I've done in the past for real life conferences.
You got it.
I could do that for this year's conference because that could be a way to make it accessible to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even after the fact. So I'll volunteer to do that, but I can't say how quickly because I'm running an art contest on Instagram for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
But soon, relatively soon.
That's absolutely fine. What I will do is I will give you access to the site so you can jump in and play with the schedule page however you'd like and do whatever you need with it. This is going out to whoever gets access to the site. If you find a plugin that you want, make sure it is compatible with the theme, because if not, there will be a hole in the programming that will allow hackers to come in and put a virus. That's already happened to me a couple times. Make sure the theme is compatible with the press. Aurelia, SumoMe is not. We cannot get SumoMe, so I found another share
button.
That's
something, oh, you mean, well, but you don't have to have that as a plugin. You can have that without having it as a plugin.
Okay.
There's a way of putting it as a header script.
Okay. I did find another share button that is compatible, so I brought that in. I love the program. So we now have share buttons on all the pages.
That's fine.
So that does work.
The thing with SumoMe is that you can do more than share buttons. You can put list builder stuff in there so that it shows up when people are about to leave and then they don't forget to sign up.
Yeah. No, I have SumoMe on my other sites, and I'm very familiar with it, and I do use it. I love their heat maps. Love heat maps.
I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Oh, we should write to the King Sumo support to make sure that we get that all cleared up by next year. By the time we want those to be going, because I remember you said something about having to deactivate it just in case it was one of those that was causing image problems.
That's right.
And if we make a support ticket with them now, they will have time to figure out what the problem is and fix it.
Yeah. I have, this was not geared for memoir authors or readers. I don't think they found the links because there was a lot of memoir authors and readers out there, but again, I think they didn't find the links. Booths organized by genre and fairgrounds. During the panel discussions, I wish there was a text or chat room so the audience could comment. The forum should take care of that now. More reader interaction. Can't think of anything. A better separation of romance. Suggestion. Cling. Mild. Medium. Hot. Spicy. Yes, we are doing that. And as a parent, I would have loved to have seen more authors for younger children ages 5 to 7. I read that line,
but they were also authors of other things, so they
me.
They ended up not talking about it.
Jen is that way as well. He's got a wonderful cat book. I saw that comment and I went, "Oh, a children's section," and hence the discussions for that.
And that
Maybe
could be something else to reach out to local libraries about. Because most local libraries have a children's section and they do have events for children. Yeah. And that giving them access sort of to participate in ours, like they could have one computer that's projected onto a big screen and could have all of the local kids participating as a group all at once.
Yeah. Now, we are limited with how much we can touch down. We can't touch thread authors at all. Like Eric Carle, we can't read any of his books because of copyrights. So that kind of puts it on us. Now, I write children's books. They're just not published yet. And so I can definitely, in fact, my husband's kind of on me about a couple of them. He's like, "Why aren't you writing these?" So I will definitely be bringing mine in next year. And yeah, I mean, anyone who's got any kind of a children's
there are a lot of indie children's book authors out there. You just don't know who they are because they spend all of their time traveling from school to school. Doing in-person events. So they don't hang out online.
And my daughter she writes books. My 8-year-old. and they are so funny. So I will be doing I'm actually wanting to
That
put a
could be a
program
cool
together.
contest for kids too.
Yes, yes.
Like write a short story, write
Yeah,
a poem.
one of the things I'm wanting to do is build a company comparable to books written by children for children about children. And like I said, my kids, my daughter, I have like 5 children's books sitting here that my daughter wrote.
Oh my goodness, I have to ask Sherwood because some of her stuff is TradPub and some is indie,
Yeah.
and I don't know which is which, but she's been writing in her world since she was 8. And there's one of these books that is in this world that is about children, and
Yeah.
is the best book ever.
Yes.
So I need to, like, because she was
Yeah.
interested in participating this year, but I think she might have been one of the people who got confused. So
Somebody wrote, I think more folks setting up panels would be nice, and I'll likely throw my hat into this. And I'm going, well, I don't know who you are, but yes. So yes, if you are watching this, email me, AngelaDChrysler@yahoo.com.
Oh, do you have, well, maybe I'll just do this on mine, and then you can do it on yours as well.
Yeah.
But on my Abyssinian Books Writer Forum, I'll probably start putting together some how to do that, tutorials and stuff, and discussion of, I mean, because it might be relevant to you outside of the convention. Like if you want to do a giveaway with authors in your genre, or you want to have a little Facebook event, you might want to do this as part of it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I think in order for B2BCyCon to be successful, we need to step back and rethink what it is to have a con online. For example, having Australian authors doing things through the American night, the idea that online things don't stop. I think the other thing is to start with one great day and make the con earn its way to multiple days. We actually were talking about this with Jen. Jen is going to be hosting with Joe next year, where he's going to be doing Japan, and he's going to be taking it over the night.
Yeah.
And we have, of course, I know one Australian author, one who is still living in Australia.
There were 2 who were on panels, and then there's Ashley as well, and then I know some people
Ashley,
in New Zealand.
yeah, Ashley's the one I'm speaking about. And I know I had like 3 other Australian authors, but they were in America already. So, but yeah, Jin is already on that. He's already volunteered for next year, because his days, of course, are our nights. So that's definitely going to be doing that. I'm not sure what this commenter means by saying earn its way into multiple days. We did the 3 days. The 3 days worked out great. We were all dead on our feet by the 3rd day, and it was great. I think 3 days is solid. That's great. But we had other people saying, I wanted a full week. Why did this stop after 3 days? And they also followed that up with, of course, you guys are probably dead on your feet. Somebody said they want cotton candy. Just kidding. Maybe some activities in the southern.
Can we make a column with like recipes for homemade carnival food?
Yes.
Absolutely. I can do the Indian fry bread recipe.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. I wanted to do something like wrap up popcorn, regular popcorn, and then take like a Brand of Books label and wrap it around it. And if you signed up, I would mail it to you in the United States only. But that way you could sit there and pop your Brand of Books popcorn at the convention. That's the only thing. I wanted to do that. I'm like, if I had more money, I would. Maybe a cyber lounge where people can gather a video and start their own
discussion. That's another thing. I think we should maybe consider having some merchandise for sale to support the cost of the website and the cost of the emailing stuff. Like, nobody has to buy it if they don't want to, but if you want to, then you can go buy a mug that says Brain to Book Cyber Convention on it.
Merchandise.
There's always Cafe Press, and
there's Cafe Press, and there's Social 6, and
but you don't have to put any money up front or
yeah. I'd have to look into the merchandising on that and see. I mean, Brain to Books is mine. I should probably. No, I'll have to look at that. I'll have to talk to my legal department. I got really confused as to where to find the off Goodreads stuff. I just need as a really obvious link to the Facebook, and like I said, that should clear up with the website. So I think
that could be a fun way to lead people into the convention. Actually, is if you have a fan art contest for the logo and the artwork for the convention next year, and you have that close. at the beginning of March, and then whoever the winner is, their artwork and stuff gets put on the front of the book, on the front of the program, on the website, and on all of the merchandise. And part of the terms of entering into that fan art contest is that you have the right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can put their like signature as part of it, and so like they get name recognition.
Yeah.
It can be voted on by
No,
participants.
I'm already doing that. I am already doing that. Like the winners of Cover Wars, winners of the Tournament Wars, they already have their information posted there with a buy link and where to get their information.
Right. But like if you're having a fan art contest sort of to create the logo, then you have the merchandise. You don't run into all of those legal issues, and you just build the legal into the terms.
Yeah, that would work.
People excited about the conference.
Yeah. I'll look into that, absolutely. Like I said, merchandising is a whole little nasty legal nest. I'll have to sort it out, but I'm gonna let my attorneys deal with that crap, because I don't. It's like you take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be interested in participating as an author, volunteer, or event host in the 2017 convention? 64% said yes, I participated in the CyberCon and I'm ready to do it again. I have 29% say no, I want to enjoy the convention as a reader, and 5.9% said yes, I'm an author who came in too late this year and want to participate in 2017. And then we have please provide any comments or suggestions you may have about hosting. We need a website targeting time where, say, 10 of us target one person's website for traffic. That person does something special on their site. Once I figured out how to get around everything, it went really smooth. See here, just taking a quick glance here. Weekends tend to be busy with the husband home, so I could not participate. Best host for the Facebook event was Tabitha. She was active to make sure that the author doing the takeovers posts didn't get lost, and I got the most out of her event. Good to know. Yeah. Moderations on panels need to ensure each panelist is offering a chance to speak, rather than a free-for-all. But this was only a problem on a few panels.
I was trying.
Yeah. No, you're fine, sweetheart.
It'll be better next year because there will be fewer, probably closer to 5 people instead of 8.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pre-screen people. I'm going to pick people who've gotten a lot of books and who have done a lot.
Yeah. Well, the good news is I see here what was your goal, and it looks like 84% said networking. So that's good that the majority of them were thinking about that. And very satisfied, love it, is 43% satisfied with the convention. 37% were I liked it, had fun, may do it again. Did you also browse the convention as a reader? 45% said yes, made a point of attending. 43% said I wanted to but didn't have the time. And then the rest is regarding the hosting. So I just wanted to grab what was being said and done regarding the readers. As far as advertising goes, I feel like there was a lot of authors who did not advertise. I think that was something that we really need to. And it's funny because doing so many different events, there are authors who jump in who want to do more but can't. There are authors who volunteer. They have no idea how to advertise or market. And then there are authors who jump in and they sign up, and that's pretty much it. They use it for that one particular promotion, but there is no reaching out to readers or helping promote it. I really struggled getting people on the Thunderclap. We had 318 people signed up, and I had to really push people to support the Thunderclap, which should not have been an issue with 303 people.
Angela, can I ask you a question? Do you know if that's because most authors don't use Twitter or aren't on Twitter? Because I thought that was so strange.
With Facebook or with Tumblr too.
Yes. It was, and I had a couple
it's
people.
So easy to do.
It is.
Well, a lot of authors don't know what a Thunderclap is.
That may be part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed that with other Thunderclaps, a lot of questions are, what's a Thunderclap?
Yeah. And I had a video there that explained, and I think it got buried. People weren't aware backstage that there was a video explaining this is what a Thunderclap is, this is what it does. I even took their video off of YouTube and posted it on the site to say this is a Thunderclap, guys. And it was
but then they would have had to click on it to know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was
Unfortunately,
either until I went to your thing, and I'm like, this is cool, and I'll probably use it. But that was strange to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
unfortunately, when you have so many authors, I mean, one of the things I noticed just going from page to page, you could tell how much experience they had with marketing.
Yeah.
And technology, for that matter.
Yeah.
And some of them were just like, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I wrote this book, and that was it.
Something I have noticed is I'm a member of a bunch of groups on Goodreads, and I'm active in almost none of them. Exactly because the authors who have no experience in marketing tend to hang out on Goodreads, and they're asking the same questions over and over and over again, and they're getting the wrong answers over and over and over again, and they're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah.
And I get frustrated with that because I would happily answer your question if I thought you were going to actually listen to me.
Yeah.
Which is why I moved it to my own forum, because I want the people who care to be able to go to a place where they're not going to get those same answers over and over again, where they'll actually get help and support to actually make progress.
Yeah, I run a group on Goodreads, and I get the same thing. I get no participation in things when I try and get our authors to market. It's really frustrating. Because, I mean, I tried to set up a share team recently, and I had practically no one sign up to share things like their events and their books and everything. It was weird.
Yeah. There is still every man for themselves with this, and
which is just stupid.
I'll tell you exactly. Yeah, thank you. No, really,
it really is.
Yeah, when it comes to marketing and networking and getting your name out there, being isolated on a ship, you're not. I'm gonna pull it. Dr. Horton, or I'm sorry, Dr. Seuss, Horton Hears a Who. You're gonna be heard if you say in one voice, "We are here," than one person just speaking up.
And in addition, even if you can write fast enough to be producing a high-quality book once a month, readers can still read faster than that.
Yeah.
I read 3 600-page books in 24 hours.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you have to market. You have to.
24-hour period. So, readers can read more than you can write, no matter how fast you write.
Yeah.
So having collaboration helps you in more ways than just...
Yeah. Now, Patty Jansen, she does a monthly promo. Seriously, Google this woman's name. If you want their information, I will get it. She offers free promos.
How do you spell her name?
Patty, Patty, Jansen, Jans.
I think it's Patti, because I've seen her site.
Let me take a look. I have to check it. I signed up for her, so I get her newsletter, and let me see here. Let me just scroll down here. I'm trying to, and she does some phenomenal stuff. Every month she has an event going on. All right, I'm just going to do my search here. Okay, with an E, Jansen.
I have to run, guys. Sorry.
Okay. Yep, you're fine.
But I'll watch the rest of the video later, so I stay on top.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, everything's going to be over at the site now, B2BCyCon.com. So we're centralized now. We're good.
And the braintobooks.com is where the video for this will be embedded in one of the posts on that, probably.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
This is for the authors.
Right.
Yeah.
See you later.
All right. Bye. Thank you, Heidi. Okay, I cannot find her information right here. I'm trying to find it. But she does a book promotion every month. She is a big name in this. So she gets the hits and the information through.
Yeah.
And I cannot find it.
That's okay. Is there anything else we really need to talk about?
I think that is it. Yeah, I'm not. I don't think so.
I will let you get the information out to the people you know about the Reader's Choice Awards, and I'll tell people I know about it as well.
Yeah. There it is.
and hopefully we can get a good breadth of genre
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. Here it is. It's pattyjansen.com/promo. And she has free books 2 through 3rd April 2016. And she gets such a large feedback on this that, like, she tracks her sales, not her sales, but the sales of all of these. And we're talking in the thousands. Like, it is a huge promo event. It's free. You do have to participate in promoing as well. You can't just jump in, dump your book off, and say, okay, thanks for the promo, and walk away. You have to commit to advertising and the banners and the posting the information on your site. It is a commitment on your level. It's free, but you have to contribute.
You have to contribute time and
yes,
and eyeballs.
And honestly,
yeah.
it's something I would love to really push with Brain to Books. Is
That's something
it
Kelly
is free.
Kelly has done a bunch of King Sumo giveaways through one of her author groups, and I asked her to share with me they give out marketing instructions to the authors who participate in that. I asked her to share it with me so that we can adapt that to books as well.
Yeah, and I plan on doing like a very simplified marketing 101, which is what Brain to Books really is focusing on. It's a massive deficit in the publishing world in this side. I mean, there's a lot of information out there for writing. There's too much information out there for writing.
There's a lot of information out there on publishing, and people don't know where to look. There are podcasts about it. There's Sell More Books show. There's the Creative Pen. There's
author
self-publishing.
Yeah.
There's the self-publishing podcast. There's a bunch of other ones I don't even know what they're called.
Yeah.
But there are a ton of them. And if you go look for it, you can be getting an education, the likes of which you can't get anywhere else, because these are authors talking about what they're doing as they do it.
Yeah.
And if you're a beginner, then you need to go back and start at the beginning of those feeds so that you're where they are when they start.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to get overwhelmed. But especially with the Creative Pen, that's Pen with 2 N's. Joanna Penn started in 2008. And she did a print run.
Yeah.
And so she talks about all of the mistakes she's made along the way, and she now has 2 massive empires. And if you go back and you listen from the very beginning, not only do you get an education in how to do things and what not to do, you learn from all of her mistakes, but you also see how the industry has become what it is today.
Yes. Yeah.
And that history is very important for understanding some of the context of what some people say.
Yes, that is huge. That is a good chunk of that.
Yeah,
So
I follow her
recommend
site. She's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go ahead. I think we're all set here. And like I said, I will be starting up next month a Brain to Books classes. And like I said, I'm not sure if it's going to be monthly or bi-weekly yet. But I do want to bring people into that. It's not just me sitting here lecturing. Heidi, I definitely want to bring her in to go over marketing, how to do things, and it's going to be, some things are going to be step by step how to do something.
I'd like to talk on one of those about understanding your ideal reader.
Yes.
Because a lot of authors are confounded by that concept, but it's not any different from getting to know your protagonist.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not any different.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just one of the many things I'd like to talk about.
No, absolutely add it to the list. And I mean, there's a lot of topics. And with a bi-weekly or monthly podcast, you're looking at 12 to 24 classes for next year. So
my office hours are they're once a week if I have questions, and I haven't had questions lately because I haven't been telling people to go ask them. So yeah.
And like I said, we have the websites now. We have the forums. So if people have questions to build up to answer, it's going to be there. But go ahead and shut it down now. And goodbye, everyone. Thank you very much for listening.
Definitely go to Brain to Books and sign up to Angela's thing so that you stay up to date.